Okay, y'all. Today I have a very, very special taboo talk. This is one that I channeled and I took some notes and wrote stuff down so that I can stay on track of everything because it's so easy for me to get off track, especially when I start channeling. But this taboo talk is called The Power and Wrath of the Paper God. Trees, paper, and sovereignty. Okay? All right, so let me go ahead and get it started. Trees, paper, and sovereignty. They came over the water. Before they came, people were already here, living here on the land with the trees, with the rhythm of the earth. Survival wasn't built on paperwork, it was built on relationship. Then a different mindset arrived, a survival mindset shaped by conquest, scarcity, and control. So when they came, we were looking right at them. We were looking right at them on the boats. What they come with? They came with disease blankets, right? And they came with hardship. They came with, we're never going to be in this position again. Nobody's going to just outcast us, throw us off on the water. And we just land somewhere and we have no place to be. They don't want us where we came from. And we're going to make this place here with these people that are so helpful, so kind, and willing to teach us things. We're going to take everything we know, everything we see, and we're going to figure out how to conquer this land so that we always have a place to stay and never be hungry again, never going without, and never be outcasted. We'll be the authority that's in control. That's what they said. That's what I'm channeling and I see in the spiritual realm. So beyond the people, the first thing they saw off the boats, besides the water and their conditions and whatever they were in, is they saw the trees. And they saw how people interacted with the trees. That was my ancestors, how they interacted with the trees. How the trees and the people were one and the same, in a sense, in color, in look, in everything. And how people just honored the trees. The trees were not just life. Trees not just as oxygen, trees not just as medicine. They saw lumber, they saw land to clear, they saw cities to build, they saw ownership. Trees gave us everything, and it still does when we utilize the trees the right way. They provide oxygen, food, medicine, shelter, tools, clothing, water cycles, and balance. And they can provide more things than that. But this is the short list that I've made. Trees provide so many different things for us. And even water. We can drink from certain trees and stuff like that. And they have different plants like coconuts that have water in them and all that. The sky's the limit on what the trees do for us. And we also give them carbon dioxide. So, we have a relationship with the trees, whether we want that relationship or not. We breathe with the trees. That's not just spiritual fluff, that's a biological fact. But instead of honoring that system, they cut them down and replaced it with their own. And when they cut the trees down, they turned them into paper. And they also decreased the number of female trees to have more male trees so that they can dominate and control the food system. This is what I'm seeing. And on that paper, they wrote the words authority. They wrote religion. They wrote law. They wrote contracts. They wrote borders. They wrote ownership. They wrote debt. They wrote identity. A new identity that suited their interest. That's when the paper god was born. Anything written becomes real. Anything stamped becomes enforceable. Anything signed becomes binding. And paper only has power because we collectively agree it does. Then came currency. Paper backed by belief. Numbers backed by enforcement. Value backed by participation. Currency moves like water. Current flow, which is where they came from. They came off the waters. From the country they were outcasted from. And they want everything to be like a commemoration of them surviving, coming off the waters and conquering a new place to make it their own so they can be comfortable and secure with where they're at, never to endure any hardships that they ever went through, no matter who they have to go through, no matter what they have to do. Them and all their descendants are going to be absolutely fine and okay the way they have structured the paperwork and making sure that everything is enforceable by paper alone. But then the structure, but here's the structure. The ones who create the money aren't bound by it in the same way. The one who designs the rules can bend them. The laws are enforced downward. That's concentrated sovereignty. Then comes the machinery that makes this paperwork work for them. The courts, the branches of government, bureaucracy, police, military, surveillance, and automation. Systems that protect themselves. That's what systems do. And that's what their systems do for them, particularly. And then the children. So once they took over those types of systems, they have to make sure that everything stays in line, that the history and what happened and all of that is erased. And they started that. There's a gap in history where they talk about enslavement. They talk about this Jim Crows and all this kind of stuff, because that group of people were misclassified over and over again. And that's my people. Calling us, we are indigenous, right? If you're originally from the Americas, that was not once called Americas, but if you were originally from this land and your people never came from the story they gave us about Africa. Now, granted, there are people that came from Africa. There are people that are constantly coming from Africa. But just because we have the same skin tone doesn't necessarily mean we're the same. We were already from here. We weren't from there, but they tried to make us believe we're from there to take us further and further and further away from the land. Just like instead of calling us indigenous Indians, which is what we are, they have called us colored, Negro, mulatto, all kinds of names. Black, African American, African, dark. And the list goes on. Everything, all the different names, try to get us away from remembering who we are, who we are, where we came from, where we're at, what's going on, what actually happened to us and our people. This was a big, giant plan, y'all. And I'm going to get back on this topic about the children. I highlighted it particularly so I can make sure I come back to the story, because this goes deep. If you continue to do horrible things like they did, if people do horrible things to people, then that scares them, puts fear in them. And then once they put the fear and the scare with all the trauma, dramas, and terrors, then start separating people, moving people to different plantations and all of this and that. All the things y'all read about the, and this is from historical. Y'all know this. There's been plenty of movies, plenty of documents, whatever. So you know what I'm talking about is legit. The harvesting, the baby factories they were having, the consuming of peoples, all these different things was going on back then, all kind of torturous, horrible things, moving and shifting people. And once you start taking control of the land, take it and then okay, let me slow down. So from being taught by people who are already here, then all of a sudden planning secretly with the group, so this is what we're going to do, because there was still a language issue. Everybody was speaking different languages when they first encountered each other. So it made it easy to create plans and strategize in front of the people that you're with, because they don't have your language. Y'all making sounds, drawing little pictures, doing all this, trying to communicate, and teaching them what we know when they came here. Okay, that's how it was. And I was not born during that time period that I'm speaking to you from, but spiritually, I was there somehow. I don't know. This is the channeling part. All right. So after they learned everything they needed to learn and gather, they were still speaking in their own language. And they were like, well, you know what? We're going to take over this land. There's no way we're going back on the water. There's no way nobody's going to throw us out. There's no way we're not going to have. So we're going to just take over what's already here. So they threw us out of house. The same houses that you call The plantation houses were actually our houses. Beautifully decorated. Gold trims, different things, all these what do you call these structures? It's got these, they look like statues and all this pillars, this nice decorative stuff. This is already our stuff. But overthrew us, took us out. So then, therefore, we became prisoners of war. And the strategy was to make us not remember that you're prisoners of war, not remember that this whole place is yours. And the best way to do that is through the education system. Okay? So now we're going to educate you, and we're going to educate all your children so that this system can continue to rock and roll so that you will never remember what happened to you. The only thing you're going to remember to you is all these enslavement movies we got coming out to make you mad and make you feel some type of way in the movie theaters or at your own house. Make you feel like you was always less than. Make you feel like this. And we're only going to segment one little month out of the year with the smallest amount of days out of that year to remind you of what accomplishments your little people have done, which aren't necessarily true because you built this whole place here. This whole place was already ours. And we're going to make you feel small. We're going to call you names. We're going to mistreat you. We're going to do all these little things. This is what they did now. This is what they said. And that was part of the plan, to make you feel bad about yourself, about your skin, about your hair, about your everything. Once you start feeling bad, then we got you. But the education system, through the children, education system does not teach sovereignty. It teaches allegiance. You know, they pledge allegiance K through 5, and they don't even know why, what that's all about. And then after that, they never hear or see from it again. It teaches punctuality. It teaches productivity. It teaches approved history. The history they want you to remember. They can, McGraw and Hill and whoever else is making those books, and put in and take out whatever they want and make you believe it. Just like the whole science thing about we came from the monkeys and started walking upright. No, everybody in our species did not start out like that. But to make it fine and okay and acceptable, we all had to be walking like that and coming up and all this and that. Not true. But they're going to say it's true. Because it's a benefit if we all believe we all are the way they are. Okay? All right. So now let's go back to this. It teaches how to function inside the machine. That's what they teach you. What it doesn't teach you is how to identify plants in your yard. Things we actually now need to know. How to identify trees. How to identify herbs. How to grow food. How to use herbs for our health and benefit. What combinations go together. We got the periodic table, but that periodic table ain't telling us shit about how to survive and do what the hell we need to do, which it's supposed to and it should. That's the best way they should teach, and they don't. It doesn't teach us how to build healthy relationships. The kids are growing up not knowing how to communicate. Most of the time being bullied or picked on in school or dealing with some other weird, twisty-ass situations because children are not always growing up in socially healthy households or environments. And they're bringing that to school. Teachers, you can't always trust teachers. They're not always the nicest people you would hope they would be. They're doing horrible things too sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. I have seen it. And they even had things done to me, so, and they're bringing their own bias. And if they are racist, they're bringing that. If they're whatever these teachers are, they're bringing that with them. I'm not attacking teachers. I'm not saying anything bad about all teachers because that's certainly not the case. Have some awesome teachers out there. But at the same time, no matter how good the teacher is, if they are not independent, having their own school, doing their own school, little homeschool co-op or whatever they got going on, and I can't even guarantee you that all the time because a lot of those are religion-based. But if they're not independent, they don't got their own thing going, and they're really trying to give you what you need, this kind of stuff right here, then they're still pushing the agenda of the descendants of the colonizers. And colonizers are AKA settlers, AKA pilgrims, anybody in that group, colonizers, okay? And the whole Thanksgiving story, that's a whole nother story we're going to have to talk about. I'll probably make that a separate taboo talk. But it's not the celebration of coming together and peace and all that. No, it's celebrating the conquest of my people every year. So if you are of Black descent from America, the indigenous American, you're not celebrating the happy story they told you. That's a lie. You're celebrating being taken over, brainwashed, land stolen, and everything done to us in that way. And I'm not here to try to incite any kind of upset, but this is what the facts are that I am channeling from the spiritual realm. And we got to be aware and knowing what's going on, because they don't want you to know what's going on. And I'm not here to argue about it. I'm telling you what it is. Okay? Next. Whether intentional or incentive driven, the result is the same: dependence. Then they took over the food. If we look at food, the industrial food is being built on scale and profit. It's ultra processed with additives, excess sugar, low nutrient density. There is real evidence linked to heavily processed diets to inflammation and metabolic decline. And those are prerequisites for cancer right there. We're just going to go ahead and start and say that right there. And any other organ issues and whatever, just based on what we see and what we know, this is stuff you can read online. And physical health absolutely affects mental health. There are multiple factors involved in mental health. Yes, trauma, stress, genetics, sleep, and environment, but nutrition also matters. Environment also matters. And the reason why I'm focusing on environment, I'm going to highlight this so I can make sure I say what I need to say, is because when we're constantly being stressed, work like dogs in, you know what I'm saying? Trying our best every day to make money that's not enough because they keep increasing the prices of everything. Inflation. They're the ones that's controlling the inflation. It's not some imaginary thing that just came up out of the sky. No, the government has decided what they want to increase the stuff to, and they do. They keep printing the money. They're doing fine. It's okay. When you print the money, you can just grab the money and have it and do what you want to do. You and your family taken care of forever because you got the money. You print the money. You make the money. You don't have to follow the rules that you made. So they're fine while we're not fine. And we're not fine because we didn't know what was going on and also didn't know what to do. Being stressed out is not the answer. Okay, so instead, we catch back up to what I was going to say here. And instead of arguing with villains, plots, here's the real point. When you grow food, when you reconnect to land, when you reduce consumption, buying extra stuff that you don't need to buy, because like I said, they're the ones that's increasing the prices. They're trying to get the money out of you. Plus, we're not even supposed to be even working like this for money. Everything here in this whole world belongs to all of us. And how can one group of people decide they're going to take over every damn thing and now everybody got to pay them? Everybody got to play in their game. Everybody got to follow the rules they wrote down on paper. What the hell? Who decided that y'all are the ones that get to control that? You know, that's what I really want to say. If I ever had a chance to say something to somebody, I would say that. Who the hell said that you are the ones that you guys are the gods that can dictate everything over the rest of us gods? You don't get to choose that. Now, when we participate in it and we go along with it, then yeah, of course, everything's going to be working fine because it's fear-based now. And it's the way they have it structured for them to do what they want to do to us. That's how that system works. Back on target, y'all. But when you stop overfeeding systems that don't serve you, you reclaim leverage. You don't have to burn everything down. You don't have to fight robots. You don't have to collapse society. You reduce dependency. But these robots, we're going to get back. I'm going to highlight that because I'm going to have to talk about these robots. And we got to be on game for that. But anyway, you reduce dependency. You buy less. You grow more. You build parallel. You create your own value. You stop worshiping paper because that's what they want us to do. Worship paper everywhere you go. Now, this worship paper, let me look down and see if I put it anywhere else. I don't see it. I just want to make sure I didn't put it anywhere else before I say anything. So if I say stuff twice, y'all be all right. But when I mention this paper god here, so you need to stop. You stop worshiping paper. Paper that they have, the money that they print, the paperwork that they have, the contracts they have, anything that's documented on paper, any kind of laws, any kind of rules, any kind of communication stuff that's trying to run your life is going to be on paper more than likely. The news, any kind of communication, they try to use what they can. And paper can be digital too. So that's how it is now anyway. So instead of it being physical paper, they just transition the process of what it is. But Word documents, Google documents, it don't matter what kind of documents. Anything online is still paper, even if it's digital papers. And the paper God, is the Bible God. Any kind of book God, any kind of scripture God, any kind of God that's in a book that you have to read about, that you have to fear about out of a book, that is a paper God. That God is not like this. Something real, tangible, that you can feel, hold, and see at the moment. Also, to be said, whoever these gods are in these books are sitting back and allowing the bullshit of this world to go on. So if you sitting up somewhere with your toenails crossed while the world is suffering, I have no honor, I have no respect, I have no belief, I have nothing for that, because that's not real. That's not what's going to help us. And that's also another way that my ancestors were conquered over here. Because look at it. How did it work out? First of all, you got people who had the ability to bring weaponry, arms, all kinds of weapons, just like firearms and stuff like that. And then you got people with trees, little tree limbs with little tiny arrowheads and stuff on it, Gun versus arrow, it doesn't match. Okay, it doesn't match. One is going to be more aggressive than the other. Okay, both of them can cause harm, both of them can hurt. But one is faster, sharper, and more absolute than the other, in one way or another. So that's how that was. The weaponries weren't even. Also, on the other side of weaponries, okay, so there's been so many different things happening with trying to get citizens, civilians, whoever, regular everyday people to not have firearms. And I don't understand this for the life of me. It doesn't make a difference. If somebody has one and you have one, that's balance. Because if somebody can pop, somebody else can pop. But if they're saying nobody can have anything to pop, I can guarantee you there's going to still be somebody out the streets or wherever, anywhere, even the ones like government is definitely going to have their stuff. And then what you going to do? One weapon plus the same weapon is balance. You know what I'm saying? Now here's the twist. Here's a little caveat. Okay, so here you got a robot and you got a firearm. It's still not balanced, because the firearm can do anything all day. Pop off, pop off, pop off. But this robot, it's still going to keep going. It's not going to feel nothing. It's not going to care. And if they input the AI in it, it's going to have the ability to be aware about human movement, human thought, body temperatures, all kind of stuff. Super weaponry, okay? When AI is put inside of a robot and programmed to do certain things, no emotions, no nothing. Then that brings us back to the beginning of the history of when they were overtaken. This is another move and strategy possibly to get us out of being sovereign, okay? Fear-based, trauma, same scenario. Unequal weapons though. Even if you do have a firearm and you don't have a robot that you can program and do what you gotta do. Do you see where I'm going here? Do y'all see what I'm talking about the future? These robots is something we need to keep an eye on that. And you might need to plan and prepare for that just in case something drastic pops off with the robots. I'm not trying to scare nobody or nothing, but I'm just saying. And then a lot of times in movies and stuff, they reveal kind of like how it's going to be, how it's trying to go, what the idea is of what to do. For them, letting us know without letting us know in plain sight. So y'all seen all the movies, you know what I'm talking about. So anyway, we watched that. And also learning how not to be afraid and learning. You got to strategize and know what to do to survive, because if you don't, they'll come with the same scare and fear tactics to get you into, just like the worshiping of that paper god. Want people scared. Oh, when you die, you go to hell. Well, look at it now. You can't even be free. Born here talking about land of the free, home of the brave. Bullshit. That's a lie. Nobody's free here. We're trapped into a prison where you get to feel comfortable because you get to earn money and you get to buy things and you get to walk around in your yard. You get to drive to whatever states you want to. You get a paper that'll let you travel and go to other countries, and you spend your money over there. When you come back, you got to let us know how much you spent so we can see how much you owe us for spending your own money somewhere else. And that's what it is, though. And why does it continue to work? Because people continue to go along with it. People continue to believe that system is acceptable. That system is correct and okay. And they've been programming us that since school that's okay. Programming us at work. Following rules. Sending bills. Having all this. We're not supposed to be buying food, water, or anything else. Everything on this land is supposed to be free. In the whole world. To everyone. And that's not, oh, well, you can't get nothing for that. You just think you could just go. Shut up, whoever's saying that. I don't want to hear nothing about that. Everything is supposed to be free. Now, if let's say somebody, you want them to come do your hair or whatever, barter and trade, there's still nothing wrong with that. If that's what people want to do. But really, everything should be you give if somebody needs, and you take, if you ask to take what they have. Not go and just overcome and conquer. I'm not saying that. You need something. Hey, I noticed you have this. I need this. May I have some? Yes, you can have some. To give them some, and that's it. You go on about your life. Everything's supposed to be healthy here. But because of how people's lives have been and how things have been, it's not going to be that way. But back to this paper god. We should not be afraid of any paper gods because they cannot do anything. If that God could do something, then hell, they would have been doing something about the things that we got going on right now, and it ain't doing nothing. Nothing at all. So I'm not about to be afraid with no afterlife if you can't even help me in my own damn real life. Okay, that's my stance on it. And I don't know how y'all feel about it, but that's damn sure how I feel. Next, and here's the proof that I've seen in my own life. When I speak my vision, let me see. I don't want to say that because that's not what I want to say right now. The message isn't about fear. This message isn't apocalypse. This message is awareness. The system exists. It protects itself and it concentrates power. But sovereignty is not granted. It's built. We need to build it. We have to build it if we want to continue to be free. What really is free. And this is saying that is, no, I don't want to say that either. This system, I would say, is evil. Okay, it is an evil system because there's nothing positive to it. It makes things run and it benefits them. So it's evil for us, but good for them. Okay, that's how that goes. And the question now is, how much of yourself are you giving to it? Because every degree of reduction in dependency is a degree of freedom. And that's the point of this whole talk. The core truth, you're not leaving something you need. You're stepping into what's already been yours. The illusion that you must participate, obey, or bow to anyone is the trap. Every tree, every stream, every mineral, every breath of air, all of it is inherently yours. Sovereignty doesn't negotiate with the system. It simply claims what's already your birthright. You don't have to ask for permission. You don't need validation. You don't need approval. Authority over you is an illusion. Enforcement by fear, compliance, and distraction are the things they take. Step past it. Live as the God you are. Because the power was never actually taken from you. It was just covered up by paper, rules, and stories designed to make you forget. And strategies as well. Systematic strategies. Freedom isn't something the system gives. Freedom is the recognition of your own authority, exercised without apology, without compromise, without needing anyone to validate it. That's what's exist. That's what's exiting. That's what exiting fully looks like. You walk, you act, you build, you create, you live as sovereign, as divine, as unstoppable. And that is this Taboo Talk. I'll see y'all in the next one.